Ciao, Roberto.
Roberto, tell me, what did you do back home?
Government work.
Wait! Before we get started in this action-packed Denzel film that's in theaters right now, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button right at the bottom, alright? The Equalizer 3 stars Denzel Washington, Dakota Fanning, alright? And is directed by Antoine Fuqua. Yes, this is his shining comeback from a failure that he did last year in Will Smith's Emancipation.
Get out of it!
In our review, I said Antoine Fuqua should be embarrassed for this film, and I thought Will Smith should be embarrassed for this film. But I suspect, like I said in that review, that Will Smith had an uneven amount of influence on that film, and I think he's the reason why that movie didn't go so well.
Exactly, for sure. And so Robert McCall is back. He is in Italy this time, and he is taking on a Italian mafia. But I'm gonna say this one is better than 2 to me, but it's not better than the first film. It is most definitely the most goriest one. In this film, Robert McCall wasn't just a ex-CIA, ex-agent, badass. This guy was Michael Myers.
That's funny. I'll be blunt. You suggested this film. I did not want to see it. And the reason why I didn't want to see it is because I haven't seen the others. I saw the first Equalizer 100 million years ago, and it left no impression on me. I'm sure it was good, but you know, I had no interest in seeing 2. Never saw it. So I was like, well, let's see if this movie works on its own. Let's see if the movie can stand on its own. And it does, for the most part. There are some stuff near the end where we understand a lot of McCall's main motivation for what he's doing.
Right.
I'm assuming these are callbacks to the previous movies.
To the second one, yeah.
Right, whatever. So that stuff went like right over my head. I could tell it was part of the previous movie because it involved a horrifically photoshopped photo of Dakota Fanning standing next to some other celebrities. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess they were in the previous movies. But anyway, Denzel's McCall is kind of like a John Wick type character. Where he walks in the room and he is just like death himself, right? Like no one is going to stop him. But there are 2 big differences between McCall and Wick. One of the big differences is we never really see McCall kick ass, right? The movie cuts so much. It's like, it cuts like crazy. So, because, you know, Denzel is like, you know, I think he's in the 70s now, or if he's not in the 70s, getting close to it. So this is a much older man, and he's not going to be doing the kind of things that John Wick does. And the movie bends over backwards to make sure you do not see Denzel do anything. You just kind of see the aftermath, right? You might see his hand go this way or foot move, but you never actually see him do these kind of things, right? I was disappointed with a lot of the fighting and a lot of the action. I'm not sure if I would fault Antoine Fuqua on that, because Denzel is an older man, and I mean, like, what the hell? He's not Superman, you know. He's a human, so it's kind of okay. That's one big difference from John Wick. And the second, I don't think at any point in this film does McCall take a hit. I think he only delivers them. Where John Wick, it gets his ass kicked every movie, right? That is the movie. Is John Wick getting the shit kicked out of him? Right. McCall is unstoppable. He is like you said. He is Michael Myers. He is the Terminator. He walks in the room and kills everyone, and no one even touches him. No one even freaking sees him. You know.
The first film, he did a lot of the stunts himself. That movie came out 2014. He was 10 years younger then. He could still move. The second film, he did a little bit more, but you could tell it was shot differently. This one, you're right. A lot of it was done in the dark, where Denzel's character would come out of the shadows, which makes me feel like he's freaking Michael Myers. I do have to take points away from that, even though I do understand that he is, you know, a older gentleman. McCall, throughout the whole series, really, he's just a mild-mannered guy. He's just a guy who just wants to put all his military and espionage stuff in the past, just want to live like a regular old guy, reading the book, chilling, but somebody's always messing with his peace.
Again, forgive me for always comparing this to John Wick. That is the story of John Wick 1, right? Where he wants to be left alone, but he keeps being drawn back. But see, John Wick will examine that. They're like, I think John Wick is just psychotic, right? I think he just likes this shit, right? He is just looking for an excuse to kill people. He's an angry guy. Something's wrong with him. I can't talk about the previous two movies, but this movie never really examines that for him. Yeah. It really does seem like a whoopsie-doo that he happens to be caught up in this mess, right? Well, it's like, how many whoopsie-doos can you get caught in, where you got to kill everybody in the room? I ain't never been in a situation like that before.
Let's just imagine you just walk in the room and be like,
I think I gotta kill everybody in this bitch. So like the movie doesn't ever examine it, which makes the movie feel dumber than I think it actually is.
The neighborhood doctor's helping him. He asked him something. Are you a good man or a bad man? And you said, I don't know. And he's like, a good man will say that.
Right, only a good man would say that, right? And I'm like, bullshit. I think he's attracted to violence. I think he's an absolute killer. And Ellie, I said Ellie, Dakota Fanning's character, she finds him, and I think she can sense that this is a killer, right? This is not a nice man trying to enjoy his time in the villa. I'm not expecting the movie to stop and have some deep character study, but But having a character say, maybe you're just attracted to the violence, maybe it's something you like. Maybe you really get off on this shit, like they do with John Wick. I think that for me, I was kind of expecting that, but it never actually happened. Which again makes the movie feel kind of old fashioned too, kind of like almost like a 90s type action film. Yeah. Like where, big badass walks into a room and locks the door and kills everybody, Also surprising, that is not the bulk of the film. The bulk of the film is not fighting at all, which I thought was smart. The bulk of the film, and I'm talking 90+%, is the movie making the audience fall in love with this small town. And I'll be honest, that shit worked on me. That worked. I was like, I want to go there. That looks like the most beautiful place to go. They made all the people seem like the most welcoming people.
Like family.
Yeah, like Olive Garden.
Like that's the real that's the real Olive Garden being Italy. When you are here, you're family.
All right, everybody freeze. This is the U.S. Coast Guard. And when you're here, you're family. That food was all very salty.
And the movie really, I'm telling you, 90% of it is really pushing this family feeling on you, this feeling that like Denzel is at home. And I liked that a lot. And that's probably one of the reasons why I'm going to give this movie a higher grade than I would have otherwise. The bulk of the film is not fighting, because I didn't really like a lot of the fighting. The bulk of the film is you learning who is in this town and why they're worth saving. Why Denzel is bending over backwards to help the people of this town. And in that venture, I think Antoine Fuqua was masterful, because I liked the town a lot. I liked the little characters we met along the way.
Could you imagine the food there?
Oh, it looks like it'd be delicious, right? So, you really want to preserve this little town. And I could understand the shorthand that the movie was using. They're saying these guys are worth saving.
These people are getting overrun by the mafia, getting shaken down. The head mafia guy in this film is a ruthless guy. And then all of that is a front for drug money to have another country go to war with him so he could be making more money.
But surprisingly, the movie doesn't focus a lot on that. I was really surprised. I thought they'd spend a lot of time with our villains. We'd spend a lot of time killing people. I mean, you could probably put every scene of the mafia guys in probably 20 minutes. You could probably, if you could condense it down, it would be 20 minutes. Boom. The movie does use a shorthand to explain to you how bad these guys are. Here's a handicapped old man. Okay, hang him, And so it's like, got it. These guys are unredeemable. And so when Denzel does his Michael Myers thing, it gives the audience permission to cheer, right? It's like, these guys are unredeemable. Yeah. There's nothing good about them. When they get theirs, right? It's a cheer moment. It's like, yeah, The
audience was doing that in my theater. They were laughing at some of the stuff that Denzel Washington was saying when he was like, "Are you warning me?" He's like, "I'm preparing you." And everybody was like, he's snickering, like he really is true. He's really preparing him. I think that this film series needs to stop here.
And it feels like it would stop here, but I don't know if it will.
Yeah. I hope to God it does. From the first film, he was basically a guy that lost his wife and, you know, he's sticking up for the neighborhood. Second one, it's more personal to him because the two people that you saw in the picture with Dakota Fanning was his co-workers in the bureau. And they end up dying in the second film, and he's gonna figure out why. You know, and in this one, just by coincidence, him being in this awesome city, that he feels like this is home, that he can finally just rest and chill. And he takes out this whole conglomerate of mafia. This should be the end.
He kind of accidentally finds his way in this little town, and he falls in love with it. And he's like, I think I'm going to stay here because it's peaceful, which makes you think, okay, well, there can't be a fourth movie about him enjoying his, you know, his tea or something like that, you know, a town. So it does feel like this could be a logical end to the series. Now, as someone who does not remember the first one and never saw the second one, this movie still works on its own. The action is pretty standard, right? Lots of cuts. Happens in the dark, you don't really see what's happening, right? There's nothing special going on here with the action. And it feels like the action is the selling point. But I was surprised, like I said, that the movie is not, you described it as action-packed when we came in. It's actually not. And I don't mean that as a negative. The movie is actually about a man finding peace in this beautiful little town. Tonally, I thought the movie shifted, right? Because he kills everyone in one scene, right? Because this movie's going on. I'm like, he hasn't killed anybody. I'm like, how long is this movie going to be? I'm like, is he going to kill everybody at once? And pretty much that's what happens.
Yeah, you don't technically need to see the other ones to enjoy this, but I like more so probably the character of Robert McCall because of me seeing the other films.
Yeah, this might sound kind of cruel, but I think a general audience who will casually go into the theater, I think they will absolutely love this movie. I think if you've seen a lot, sure. I think if you're a action junkie or a movie junkie like me, the movie can feel a bit plasticky, which I think is just a unique problem for people who watch a lot of movies.
I think you're correct on that. I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. That you know, this is not the most action-packed thing. When I said that statement, I am strictly just saying basis on the genre of which this movie stands in. But like I'm saying, I like the character development of Robert McCall himself. This is better than the second film to me, but it's not topping the first film. I like the character of Robert McCall, you know, circling back and finishing his arc. This should be it. It should not be a fourth one, but I have to take points off because of there wasn't enough action for it in the film for me as it compares to the other ones. And Dakota Fanning felt like a placement in this film.
Yeah. Her character, if her character just dropped out of the film, it wouldn't change a thing. She did nothing. She did absolutely nothing. It was just kind of a wink, wink, nod, nod. Remember that movie Man on Fire with Dakota Fanning and Denzel Washington? That's all this movie was. That's all her character was. She's like wink, wink, nod, nod.
So I'm gonna give this film a B-.
B-. I'm going to give it a B- as well. It's interesting that you said you're knocking off points because there was not that much action. I'm actually giving points because there wasn't that much action. Because again, I understand that this isn't like a John Wick type thing where the stunt guy is just going to show out, right? That's not this movie. Because I found the action to be not that interesting. I did like learning a lot about this little city. I did like learning about this little town. And I think your point about Dakota Fanning's character being like nothing is very cogent because in the final moments of the film, the movie literally picks her up and takes her out of the movie, right? There is an explosion that puts her in the hospital and therefore she's unable to interact with anyone.
Last time you'll see her is at the end of the film. In the bed.
Yeah, in the bed. She's like, thank you, Denzel. You know, whatever, you know. So again, it's kind of what I would consider to be a crowd pleaser type movie. But if you're a film dork like me, this movie is just whatever. You know, it's fine. It's fine. But if you go with a general audience, I imagine that your audience probably won't be that different from mine. My audience was cheering and clapping, and they really were into the bloodlust at the end of the film. I think this is a crowd pleasing but plasticky action film.
Do you recommend people to see it?
Absolutely. I bet you will like it. Whoever you are, I bet you will enjoy it. And you don't have to see the previous 2 films, because I didn't, and I still enjoyed it myself.
I do recommend you guys going out there and see it too, because Denzel is a really good actor. We all know this. Antoine Fuqua is a great director. You don't have to see the other 2, but if you have seen the other 2, it will help just to see the arc of Robert McCall. But more importantly, do you recommend this film? Have you seen The Equalizer 3? Get in the comments and let us know what you thought of it.
Do I look like a killer?
Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We really appreciate you guys coming and partying with us and watching this video and having a great time, all right? But if you're new to seeing our faces, please do us a favor and hit that subscribe button right at the bottom. And if you did like this rating and review of this film, please hit that thumbs up or get that thumbs down, whichever you choose. It is your opinion. Just remember one thing, it's mostly wrong. See you in another video. He's coming to kill you. Denzel is coming.
Halloween.
Basically, man, that's what he was.
That's really funny.